What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, and I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm Jimmy Smith, and look, this has been quite a show to put together. I'm not going to lie to you. There are 35 names I came up with. I decided to break down 25 of them. So you'll have 10 honorable mentions here, but we're going through and we're going to look at 25 of the potential trade candidates out there. I went through every effing roster, looked at all the people they drafted, signed in free agency, looked at what they had going on in the position. Oh, it was a great time, but came up with a bunch of names. And my God, if I had more time, I would have done all 35. But the guys I left off are really not people I'm going to be interested in. But if you are a fan of another team, maybe your team will be interested. So I do have a list of those players. But first, I'll go over the Eagles' current and future cap space and draft picks just to give you an idea of the ammo we have. You'll see that, and then we'll jump right into these 25 guys. Appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Let's effing go. Yo, all three of you. Appreciate you commenting. Everyone else that's out there watching, you're watching this later. Please feel free to leave your thoughts down below. Someone you're interested in, someone you don't see, whatever's on your mind, let me hear it. But let's jump right into this bad boy. And actually, first off, let me congratulate the MVP, Joel Embiid, which thank God they did not snake him again for that. Excited for the game tonight, but just wanted to throw that out there. Let's go, big man, playing tonight. But let's jump into this, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look, in case you missed yesterday, the updated look at the Eagles' estimated cap space with the rookie draft pick cap hits included. So you can see all that. DeAndre Swift is in there. Jalen Hurts, Jordan Mailata, everything you're going to ask, they're in there. I'm up to date with all of it. So you can see once those moves happen, we'll have around $13.5 million. We've got plenty of cap space here. Now, into the future, you want to sign someone to a long-term deal, give them those dummy years where you can spread out those cap hits. Well, you got money in the future too. So we looked at those last night. And if you want to see any of these things explained, go check out the video from yesterday. But then the future draft picks you see here, we've got 10 next year, 7 the year after that. So look, a lot of trades happen. Go check out that whole draft recap. But, you know, I went over the fact that we only really lost out on 2 picks in the next couple of years. So that's pretty phenomenal. Added an extra one in this year's draft. So I think Howie is just a magician and continues to put on a masterclass for everyone to see. So keep up the great work. And now you see things like anyone can do it. It's all easy. And it's like, no, yeah, I mean, they just don't do it, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Hilarious. Not even media people know how this stuff works. Trust me, I have to explain it to them every year. So it's always funny when you see those people saying stuff. Howie's just, anyone can do it. Yeah, Howie's just the only one that's doing it out of 32 teams. Okay, but appreciate you tuning in. Better late than never, and you didn't miss anything. Just the stuff that you already know, my man, Drew. You're always tuning in, so I know you're up to date. You've got it all up there. And for the rest of you, if you miss anything, go check those out. But you see, we've got 13.5 mil to play with. We've got 17 effing picks. Let's go. So we've got the ammo, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep things moving here. Let's take a gander at these top 25 trade candidates. But before we jump into these trade candidates, apparently I can't talk today. Don't know what that's about, but we're going to look at the top 10 here of the honorable mentions. So, yeah, I've got a bunch of names for you here today, but a guy like Mike Evans, look, I don't think the Eagles are going to be trading for him. We've got our star receivers here, but I added him late to the list because I had 9 guys. I had 34 total, so I threw him on for 35. Maybe Godwin, somebody wants gone there, but Mekhi Becton, Kayvon Chasson, CJ Henderson, Noah Igbegeni, Austin Jackson, Trey Lance, Cesar Ruiz, Jalen Reagor, and Grover Stewart. Yeah, I'm not breaking down Jalen Reagor, but you see here, most of these guys had their 5th-year options declined, or they are just someone that is a trade candidate, whether that be Stewart or Lance or Evans. But there are guys that aren't, just the, 5-year decline. But we will go over all that stuff as we go over some of these contract details for all of these guys. So we're about to jump into 25 players here, and all the players that you've been asking me about. Well, I'm about to jump right into it. Justin, my man, was hoping you were going to show up. I know this was your vote. You've been waiting for this one. So let's jump into this one. And I'm going to start off with the rumor that was made up last week that the Eagles were going to trade for Derrick Henry. I still have people asking me about that. We just traded for DeAndre Swift, so I don't see us trading for another running back, but I know a lot of people feel that we should still go after another running back. So Derrick Henry, that'll be the first one we bring up here. And you guys saw the show. We talked about him. We talked about his money. We could move things around. We could make it work if we wanted to, but just not seeing it with the 29-year-old back, last year of his contract. I just don't think the Eagles would do that. So we talked about that. It didn't happen. We got DeAndre Swift. Very excited about it, but you see his contract details there. It could happen, just not going to happen for the Eagles. And the same goes, you guys asking me about some of these top running backs. Figured let's just jump on it, talk about them. So let's get these running backs out of the way. We've got DeAndre Swift. We don't need it. So the way this works, sorry, I kind of skipped over that first one. In case you've never seen this show, you see the 4 bullet points there. Those are the 4 ways you can create money within that contract. So you see he's got 3 years left. He's 28 years old with a $14.1 million cap hit. So you know the money. Now, if you were to restructure him, you could save 6.2. If you extend him, 7.5. If you cut him, you see how the money changes pre and post June 1st. You see if you trade him, how the money changes pre and post June 1st as well. So obviously, those with a negative symbol, that is the money you're losing. Anything with the different color without the negative symbol, that's the money that can create space. So cap saved, that's the money you are saving. So you could make this happen, cut his cap hit in half there. If you wanted to trade for him, you're a team looking for him. But for, the Vikings here, they're going to save the most cap by just, waiting till after June 1st. Now, whether they want to get something in return, so whether they want to trade him or just cut him, that's going to be up to them. But Eagles don't see it happening. Now, Austin Eckler, another running back that you guys are bringing up here, $7.7 million cap hit. You can move that money around. If you give him an extension, you can have a very small cap hit the first year. Obviously you'd want to lock him up. I think he wants that. The Eagles probably not going in this direction, ladies and gentlemen. But again, we're going to squash all of these. I know you guys have been asking about a lot of these names. So just want to jump in front of them and just tell you my thoughts on them. Josh Jacobs, another one that he got franchise tagged, but I think he's pissed off about it. He wants himself a contract. You see with those franchise tags, their cap hit is a little over 10 million there, but all you're really doing if you cut or trade him is just getting rid of that contract. Nothing really hurts you. But if you were to try to give him an extension, sign him, a team bringing him on the next year, you'd want to try to obviously do that. This is something I'm staying away from. No, thank you. Josh Jacobs not happening. Joe Mixon, another one. I'm good on that. He's got a lot of things going on off the field here. And, you could trade for him, extend him, clear up some cap space. And, if you were to extend him, you could save that 6.8 this year. You'd save around 7 million the next year. So a team looking for a back like that, you could. I mean, if your team wants them, you're not an Eagles fan, these are the kind of guys. I mean, you can make this money work. You just have to extend them, move the money around, and hope that your GM is like the Eagles, Howie Roseman. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was added onto this list. Now, this is more of a back-end kind of back, not a starting caliber guy. Maybe some people feel that way. But, a $3.4 million cap here last year of his contract. He's only 24 years old. And, it's not going to cost you much. You extend him, you clear up a little space. Maybe they take on some of it. And you can always have that happen. So the money always moves around. But you see here, this guy wouldn't cost you much. And if you're giving up nothing for somebody you think could bring something to the table more than like a Boston Scott, okay, maybe I understand that. But I'm really not giving up much to trade for a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If I am, it's going to be a 7th, 6th round pick. So, yeah, probably not. Now, this is the last running back I'm going to show here, but you guys have been really going hard. And I promise you, man, Swift and Penny are really good. I know they have to stay healthy, but those two with Kenny Gainwell, I feel pretty damn confident. I want to see what Trey Sermon and Boston Scott do as well. So I feel confident, but you can add some depth for a certain reason. Now, 32 effing years old, Cordarrelle Patterson, still kicking ass. But one thing I always mention about Cordarrelle Patterson is he really hasn't been run into the dirt all the years he's been playing. So, he's played like 10 years now. But I think that, just recently really started being used as a running back. And, he does pretty damn well. He's definitely developed his game. But he's got a couple years left on his contract, a $5.5 million cap hit. But you see here, if you were to try to restructure or extend, you could create money. So probably just want to restructure with him because, well, He's a little bit older, but you create some space. You actually would hurt yourself a tiny little bit the next year in cap space. But you see here, they could save themselves some money, but they could also just designate him a post June 1st cut, save themselves $4.25 million cap space. Now, taking on a little bit of dead money, and you're not getting anything in return if you do that. But I'm not so sure what the kind of trade value is for Cordarrelle Patterson. But for me, the reason I like him and would be okay with trading for him is the fact that he can kick return the effing ball. So we've got a punt returner, desperately need a kick returner. Britton Covey, I don't mind him, competing back there as punt returner this offseason, but I'd like somebody that can kick return. Covey does not do that. So Cordarrelle Patterson wouldn't cost you crap. You have them take on a little bit of that money. His cap hit would be like $2.5 million, around maybe $3 million. So you're looking at, nothing for a guy that can break the game when he's back there on returns. And clearly we wouldn't need him as a running back. But for me, I think we've done enough in the running back area where I feel good. But again, you could say that about receiver and but if this person has return capability, go ahead and consider him, because for me, that's something I would love for the Philadelphia Eagles to add. So we shall see. Eagles says like Madden. No, well, not really. You just have to understand the cap. And, that's what's so beautiful about having a guy like Howie Roseman. And that's why I do my best to try to explain that stuff so you guys can too be ahead of the game, understand how this stuff works, and laugh at all the people that tell you, you can't do this, can't trade for that, you can't. But I hear what you're saying. It seems almost unreal, but it's funny. You see every offseason, the media people go to war telling us we don't have this, you don't have that. It's like, dude, I wish you would just learn how this stuff works. So we're going to keep showing them, right? But, dude, I hear you. This roster is nuts. But happy Wednesday to you as well, Liz. Appreciate you taking the time. Early one today. Got a bunch to do today, and then I want to catch that damn Sixers game. So wanted to get this into you. Want to get some information, and, well, hopefully the Eagles make one of these trades, and then we're talking about it later. But appreciate you tuning in as well, my man, Kavai. Hope you're doing well. I'm having a great day. It's already been a crazy one, but, dude, I had to do some finishing touches on this show. I was like, oh, my God, this is going to take forever. So I'm trying not to talk too fast. If I miss anything, I didn't explain anything, please feel free to ask down below or let me know. Trying to get through this as quick as I possibly can here with you guys, not make this a long, enduring show here. So let's move into another one you guys have been asking about a lot, DeAndre Hopkins. For me, I don't know why people are asking for this, because this is another top-tier wide receiver. We've got two already on our roster. Look, I'm not against, upgrading wide receiver 3. I like Olamide Zaccheaus being brought in. I like Quez Watkins, getting that fire lit under his ass. So go compete, get some things going. But I'm not against, bringing an upgrade, but you've got a 31-year-old receiver with a $29.9 million cap hit. Now, restructuring, extending, making them take on some of that money, that's going to clear up a lot of that. So you could probably get him, around the 10, 15 million range, dependent on what kind of money they're willing to pay off. If you extend him, restructure him, what you're trying to do with that deal. But I mean, the Eagles could make it happen, but you would spend every dime you had. And for me, that's not the route I want to go. I don't want to trade, which it's probably going to cost you. I mean, second, well, with Hopkins, his age, honestly, with these receivers the way it is, maybe it would only cost you like a fourth, maybe a third. I don't know. But to me, I'm not giving up anything, and I'm not spending my money here on a guy that I already am going to have to pay Devontae Smith next year. So just for me, not doing it, not putting in the work to extend him, create that money, it's just not seeing it. Now, Tim Patrick is a guy that I saw. Look, the Broncos are loaded at wide receiver, and they just keep adding to the room. So, all right, whatever. But this dude, he's 30 years old, but he is definitely a hidden gem in the NFL. Unfortunate injury last year, but I think this kid, I really like Tim Patrick. But you look at that cap hit, $11 million here. But he's got 2 years left, and he really is, he could be a wide receiver 2 somewhere else. I mean, here he would definitely come in, be the wide receiver 3, but think he's got a lot of talent. The issue becomes the money here. So you see, you can restructure, you can extend, create money, have them try to take on some money. Sure. So maybe he's only around a $5 million cap hit, $6 million cap hit. Okay, that's fine. But, you're extending a guy that, just got hurt. You're creating space. Sure, you can fit him in, but he's 30 years old, right? Look, not against adding a veteran presence like that, but we've already got AJ, Devontae here to help the other guys. For me, that's just not a route I would go. And I know that, he will be a name that's brought up, but for me, I'm going to pass if I'm the Eagles. Now, this is another crowded room in the AFC West as well. Jalen Guyton. Now, I almost, it was Josh Palmer or him. And I was like, look, they're probably going to want to keep these guys. With Keenan Allen, Mike Williams always being injured, they're great players, but it's unfortunate. Now, they drafted Quentin Johnson, so they've got themselves quite a loaded room. Now, this kid, if he doesn't make the roster, you could just sign him. So you don't really have to go out of your way. But if you're hoping to have him for the offseason activities and you want to get a look at him and it's not going to cost you anything, maybe some cash and, maybe a 7th round pick a year later, I don't know. But it's not going to cost you much for a guy like that in a crowded room. And he's got a lot of talent. Now, he was injured as well. So for me, I'm probably just waiting this one out, seeing if he even makes the roster. Then I go from there. But another couple of cheap options here at wide receiver for those of you who have been asking about some of these wide receivers. Up next, I've got a guy that, well, he just entered himself into another crowded wide receiver room. He had one in Tampa Bay, now going to Cleveland. And I will be honest with you, this dude, he has got a long ways to go. He's probably like 8th or 9th on the depth chart. They are loaded at wide receiver now. And, for me, this kid has a lot of talent. We talked about him in the pre-draft process. Doesn't cost anything. Probably going to get cut. So another option where I'm probably not trading for him. But look, if you're trying to get him into camp, it's not going to cost you anything, or somebody wants a receiver you have or something, and that's going to save you money to trade them away, then you just player for player swap. That's something that could definitely happen. And a kid that's 24 years old that really hasn't been given an opportunity wouldn't be against that. But here's the kicker for Mr. Jalen Guyton. He returns the ball. He can kick return. He can punt return. And, well, I'm looking for some damn competition there. So that's why I brought up this young man that would cost you absolutely nothing. And the same goes for Greg Dortch. Now, I don't know if they're going to want to let him go. He was able to step in, do some wonderful things when Rondale Moore was hurt and everybody else that was hurt on that team. So maybe they try to keep on to their depth, especially if they trade DeAndre Hopkins. But instead of Hopkins, I'm looking at this kid if I'm going to Arizona, and only a $1 million cap hit. And you see, you could try to extend him, only 1 year left on his deal there, but not going to cost anybody anything. And, if you're looking for somebody that can help you in the return game, Greg Dortch can do just that. So threw in those couple of receivers that can help you in the return game. Now here's a guy that I wouldn't mind being that third wide receiver, and I think he can definitely play in the slot. This is a versatile wide receiver that you can play outside, inside. Now he's got an $11.1 million cap hit. Don't like to see that, but if you extend him, save yourself $7.5 million, maybe have them take on a little bit, but they're going to save themselves some money if they get rid of him. So whether that's via cutting, trading, pre or post June 1st, it doesn't matter. The money doesn't change. So they're probably going to try to get something in return. So I would assume try to trade him. If not, maybe he gets cut, but they brought some wide receivers in there, some younger guys to work with Aaron Rodgers, or maybe they keep him around because he is a decent wide receiver still and a big guy. And I think pairing him back up with AJ and having Devontae here, that would be quite a trio. So if you're looking for anyone to trade, when it comes to a wide receiver, well, Corey Davis would probably be my option, or one of those return guys. But that's all I've got for you on the offensive side of the ball. And I was looking at some of the tight ends that were out there, on some loaded rosters like OJ Howard, a guy like Parker Hesse, who you're probably asking who the is Parker Hesse, a guy that is a tight end for the Falcons, one of the best blocking tight ends. Those are some guys I looked at. But for me, I think more cut candidates there than they were trade candidates. So they didn't make the show. And I still think we could use, a little something at tight end too when it comes to blocking. I like Calcaterra's upside as an F-type tight end, a receiving tight end. Stoll is more of that H-back. He can block, but he's not the greatest. Maybe he improves. Tyree Jackson was brought back. Dalton Keene is here. So maybe one of those guys steps it up. But you've got some dudes. We talked about the undrafted kids that were signed. We talked about the rookie camp trials. So go check those videos out. So there are guys competing, but not great when it comes to the trade candidates. But now it's on to the defensive side of the ball, baby. And this is one where I feel that we're going to be focused on. So Missed the top one, I'm guessing. You're going to solve it. Yo, appreciate that, my man. But again, if you guys have any questions or I missed anything, feel free to let me know. 9 better safety. Yes, and that is what we'll be getting into. See what Legatron. Yeah, man, I'm all about Legatron. We'll wait to see what are undrafted. Yeah, man. Look, and that's what I was saying about, I'd probably just let him be cut before I would do anything like that. What is up, my man? Appreciate Marcus Twisted. You guys tuning in. Kavai, Justin, all of you, King Kong. Let's go. Let's ride. Let's get into this defense because these are the options that will get you going. Now, I'm going to start off with a couple interior linemen that we talked about before and not so interested anymore now that we kind of got Jalen Carter. So we added Ojomo as well. Ed Oliver, though, he is a potential trade candidate out there right now, $10.7 million cap hit, but you could extend, open up some money. Obviously, if you're trading for him, you usually want to try to do that, lock them down so you're not just losing them. Unless you're playing the comp pick formula game. So we shall see. But Ed Oliver available, that would be quite a pickup for a team out there. We talked about Kinlaw once they took Hargrave from us. But again, I think I'm all right now. Look, he doesn't cost much, so you want to add some depth. But I feel we are stacked at D tackle. So not really an area I am looking for. Now, up next, we've got a couple edge rushers within the NFC East that are apparently on the trade block. And Montez Sweat being one of them. And look, you can extend him off of that 1 year remaining. You could make it a very small cap hit the first year, maybe 2.5, 3 mil, maybe 4, depending on what you can do to get them to take on some money. But you can see they're going to save money by trading him. So definitely a possibility here. You've heard he's disgruntled, and you have heard Chase Young as well. So you've got 2 studs for the Redskins. Oh, the Commanders. I haven't said that one in a million years. Damn it. My apologies. But the Commanders here. You can see that, look, he ain't going to cost you much, and he is a stud if he is healthy. So somebody wants to take a swing on him, you can create some cap space there. He ain't going to hurt you that much. The Eagles could do it, but I think we're good on edge rusher as well. You add Nolan Smith to the room. He can help you as an off-ball guy as well. But we talked about the room we already had before adding Nolan Smith, breaking records here. So I'm all right there. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not something that I am, overly in pursuit of. Now, the next couple of positions here are the ones that you're all waiting for. So it's about that time. We're getting into the linebackers, safeties. Let's effing go. I appreciate you, my man. And going to do all I possibly can to keep you guys entertained throughout this all season so we don't go crazy. I just need Eagles football. It's all I need. So making these shows help us all get by, not just you, but me too. So I appreciate that, my man. I'm glad you enjoy it. Hopefully you guys caught all the information on the undrafted kids, the rookie mini camp tryouts, which is next week, as we talked about. Then we talked about the cap space, the future draft picks. If you guys missed anything, go check those out. Let me hear your thoughts. Keep you up to date. Keep you as entertained as I can. But all about Ojoma, getting some competition in there. So excited about it. Can't wait to see these guys. And then yeah, man, we're going to break down this entire defense too, just like we did last year. So looking forward to that. So one of the things about this defense, we talk about the importance of linebackers, safeties. Now, with linebacker, I've talked about this. Dean and Morrow right now, you could pencil in as starters, but Nolan Smith, I feel, can play in a lot of schemes that off-ball linebacker as well. On the weak side where, you've got Reddick and he on the field at the same time, don't know what's coming at you. Think that's very exciting. So not as much of a dire need, I think, as most people are making it out to be. Very excited about Nakobe Dean. So look, we could definitely add one of these linebackers I'm about to mention, but let's just talk about it. So up first, I've got Kenneth Murray here. And look, a young man on the last year of his rookie deal, 24 years old, and not going to cost you much when they're on the last year of their deal. You hope to extend him, lock him down if you like them. He's had his struggles, but I am a fan of Kenneth Murray. I think he's still got something there in the tank. So maybe somebody wants to take a swing on him. And with him not having such great seasons, last couple seasons, I think maybe you could get him for literally jack crap. So for me, not going to cost you much. You want to take that route. Hey-oh, why the hell not? Now up next is a name you guys we've talked about a lot, Devin White. And I like Devin White. Last year of his deal here, he's 25, $11.7 million cap hit. You can extend him, create some space here, but you're going to have to spread those cap hits out. So for me, doing that, how much the Eagles like to emphasize, or shall I say lack, they're putting emphasis on the linebacker position. So I don't know, man. They could save some money by trading him. So the Buccaneers could definitely be doing that. But I don't know if the Eagles that take him on. You could try to extend him. He would have a very low cap hit, spread out, prorate those dead money cap hits, all that stuff. When you add those dummy years, yeah, you could make it work. Just not sure that's the route I'd go because there's a couple other linebackers that I think if you're trading for a linebacker, sign me the hell up. So accidentally click this one. He's supposed to be number 2, but all right, we got him at number 3 here. So 1 year left, 26. His 5th-year option was declined. I don't know if that's because they want to give him a longer deal, but Jordan Brooks has been kicking ass, man. I think he is an underrated linebacker in this league. Doesn't cost you anything. So the same thing that we echoed for those last guys. I think this would be a great pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles. His cap hit would be absolutely nothing. You could get it for about 2.5, 1.5 mil, and it's really only going to affect you a little because you're trading and then replacing him on the cap space here. So for me, I would love it, but I don't know if they're going to be willing to do it. So it's nice to dream about. Now, another young man that had his option decline that is apparently on the trade block, Isaiah Simmons. Now, we know he had his struggles in Arizona, but we also know that we have a current Philadelphia Eagle that had struggles in Arizona. They just don't know how to use players. So for me, I had Brooks in front of him, but that doesn't mean anything. I like Isaiah Simmons, 25 years old. He's got a $6.5 million cap hit. You see, you can extend him, save a couple mil, maybe let them take on a little bit of the money for them being tampering pieces of crap. But look, they could definitely save themselves a little bit of cash. They don't know what to do with him, really. And look, there was another guy I almost added here that we'll talk about when we come up to safeties that I feel a team just doesn't know what they're doing with, but I don't think they're crazy. I think they've got a new staff there, so they'll try to figure it out. But Isaiah Simmons, man, he can play all over the field. You have a guy that, plays that linebacker, but he can also play a little bit of that dime linebacker. He can be lining up in the slot at times, covering certain receivers, tight ends, certain backs. He's got athleticism. He's got speed. He's got to work on his coverage, his tackling, everything all in one. He's just been weird last couple of years. I don't know what the hell his problem is, but I think put in the right system where someone knows what they're doing with him, sign me the hell up, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to skip over this last linebacker to get to a safety, and then I'm going to leave you my top 2. We are literally at number 23 here, Kevin Byer. And now the player I was just mentioning was Jeremy Chin. I'd love to have him. I really would. He's a weapon. They didn't really know what to do with him there, whether linebacker, safety, corner. But I think, Avella or whatever the hell his name is there in Carolina with that whole new staff, I think they'll figure out how to use him. So a safety that people have asked about is Kevin Byer. Now, that's a massive cap hit. And sure, you could extend him, clear that stuff out. But the problem is that money doesn't go anywhere. It just turns into dead money. So you're spreading it out, sure. But for a guy that's 29 years old, I know he's from Philly, I love his game, I just don't know. I mean, you could try to restructure him and just keep him where he's at, have them take on some money. Maybe you're only paying half of the 10 mil. Maybe it's only 5. I really would depend. You would have to get Howie on it. But for me, I don't think that's the top guy for me. So now I'm going to show you the top 2 candidates here. Oh, I can't count, man. I can't even talk or count right now. So Tracy Walker is not my top safety, but they added Brian Branch, those son of a, after taking CJ Gardner-Johnson. So maybe this young man with 3 years left on his contract, 28 years old, $6.3 million cap hit. You can only save a little bit by restructuring and extending him. He's got a crazy contract where they're going to lose money if they get rid of him. So this is kind of one of those things where maybe after camp, you're looking at some things that are loaded. You could figure some things out. But it was between he and Chin, and I was like, well, they at least are loaded. They're in Carolina. They've got some players, but you could find a spot to play Jeremy Chin. So just left him off. Now, let's try this again. Number 2 out of my top 2 here, we're going with a linebacker, and his name is Patrick Queen. And we talked about this guy a couple weeks ago. Last year of his contract, only 23 years old, $3.8 million cap hit that's pretty nice. And look, you can extend him. You want to lock him up. He's a young man, and he had a lot of talent coming into that draft a couple years ago. We talked about him a few years ago, and I think that I would be all about Patrick Queen. not only is he only going to, you don't even have to do anything. You could have the 3.8 mil, or you could just extend him, save yourself a little bit. Only has about a $2-3 million cap hit. Yeah, sign me up. Or again, you keep him for that last year of his contract just for a 1-year rental, if that's what you're looking for. You could definitely do that too. So it's definitely possible. And it's definitely one of my favorite moves to consider here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now at number 1, you knew he was coming. You knew he was probably going to be number 1, but who cares? Here he is anyway. Buda Baker, let's effing go. 27 years old, 2 years left remaining on that contract. And you see $16.8 million cap hit here. So yeah, that's a little pricey. We only have about 13.5 mil left, right? Now, if I'm bringing on a guy like him, I'm going to try to restructure, try to extend him. That's a move I'm probably going to try to do. So you can create more space. You can take that bad boy down, get him to around 7-8 million. Maybe they take on some of that money. Maybe you can create some more, but you could make it happen. Prorate that dead money. Just spread it out over those dummy years like Howie Roseman always effing does. And if you restructure him, you save the 6 mil this year. So he's only like 10.8, but still that's cutting it close. You got 13.5. That only leaves you with 2.7. So not sure you want to go that route, but if you extend him, ensure that he retires here, you see that, you save that 9.6 mil there. So, that's 7.2 or whatever, or I'm sorry, 8.2, 7.2. I was right the first time. Holy. So that's great. But the next year you would save 10 million off of his $17.9 million cap hit. So again, 2 very small cap hits. And if you're giving him a new deal, that's new money that you're going to have to incorporate and spread out and all that stuff. But I always keep you up to date with those things if they happen. So I can only give you the numbers that I have and explain to you what we can with what we have. So if anything happens, I will break that down for you, just like we did with all of the stuff for Swift and everything like that before it happened and then after it happened. So this is just DeAndre Swift on crack, 25 plus 10 here. So hope you enjoyed it. But that's all I've got for you today. Look, if you have any questions, you're watching this later, feel free to leave it down below. Doing well. Hope you are doing well. Also, appreciate you tuning in. And look, man, doing my best year after year now. And year 5, it has been quite a good one. And to be able to each draft pick each year, hope you guys enjoy that stuff too, because I put a lot of work into that draft stuff. And, obviously I do it for everything. You guys know that. Tune in weekly. If you have been following me during the season, I'm an animal. I will teach you everything about the other team. You'll know every effing player. You'll know their backups, their coaches, their stats for the year. You'll know every literal thing you've ever needed to know. Do not fear. You don't have to watch the media anymore. You don't have to listen to the misinformation, the hot takes. I'll give you real information that teaches you about football and how the game is won. So if that's your style, you're in the right place. And my man, Daniel, I know I'm not talking to you because you've been great support. A lot of you have been a great support. Marcus, Luffy, Twisted, my man Drew in here, Liz. Look, you guys are awesome. If I'm forgetting you, it's not because I forget. It's just because I'm a High Plains drifter. But you guys are awesome. And as long as you keep tuning in, I'll keep pumping out this content. But a big shout out to you guys. You got me over 1,800 followers now and within like a day or two. So big shout out to you. Thank you for getting the word out there. Thank you for all of the sharing, the retweeting, tweeting, for tagging me in posts, showing people that we actually have cap space, how the rookie draft cap hits work. I mean, we don't need 8 million. We don't need 9 million. We need 4.5 million. Doing my best to educate the media out here, but it's going to take a struggle here. And we've been struggling for years getting through it, but they will have to learn it. You guys told me the other day, ESP is now stealing my content and saying he is a cap whiz. We got him, baby. Don't worry. I will sue his ass. But, I won't sue him. I'll just find him. But I appreciate you. And look, if you guys have any questions about this stuff, feel free to ask me. You don't want to ask down below. Reach out, whatever it may be. But have yourselves a great rest of your day. Let's effing go, Sixers. But if anything happens, I'll be back later. If not, I will be back tomorrow. And then Friday, Fan Friday. Looking forward to those questions. I'm going to try to get that post out tonight so you can get some of those questions. It's got to be a lot with the draft and the undrafted kids, the rookie tryout kids. There is just a lot of info. So looking forward to hearing those questions for you guys. And I really appreciate you guys doing your best to get me out there. Because, look, these people, they will always steal my work. And they've been doing it for years. But until I get more followers, more people behind me, no one's going to notice it happen. So they're just getting away with murder here. I'm just going to keep pumping out that content, making them look smart until I get a job. And then they're going to be seen for, well, they don't know anything until I say it. So that's embarrassing. And those people, all I have to do is say, hey, thanks a lot for doing all the work for me and teaching me about football. That's all they have to do. But instead, they just piggyback. But hey, I could never live like that. If that's anybody else's style, let them have at it. As you can see, those people never get anything right in the draft. Free agency, they're always pissed off, upset about things that never happened, don't know how the cap works. So for me, I just avoid it. And if you guys do the same, that's probably better for your soul. But for those of you tuning in, choosing to talk about football, I can't thank you enough. I love every single one of you. Have yourselves a great night. Sixers, go get that W. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You stay safe out there, and as always, go Birds!